Good morning, Aid. Well, first one in the chat, and you are in another country across an entire ocean. Shout out Patty Sanchez, channel supporter, and there's Buck Account. Is that right, Buck Account? Shalom, Alien, Cowboy 22 hair waving from Michigan. Michigan. Is that where you're a troll or a youper? Isn't that Michigan? Upper or lower peninsula? Right? So I haven't done a live in a while, just too busy. Life happens, can't help that. Dealing with all kind of issues, good and bad. I'm down here doing stuff, moving my goats around, and I'm not gonna move the camera just because it took me a while to set it up. But they're all spread out in the woods behind me. I'll probably upload a couple of photos of them on the community page and the area that they're around, because it's pretty rustic. It's kind of Mesozoic age looking stuff. First of all, how's everyone there doing? How y'all doing? Hi, my name is Tish, and I live in Maine. This is my first visit to your webpage, so I've been listening to Pastor Joe for many months now. Well, welcome, Tish. Yeah, I'm his significant other. My page and his page are a little different. We're obviously of the same faith, and I do answer faith questions here, but I don't, this channel is just kind of a variety of stuff because I like a variety of things. And so I don't do a lot of Torah teaching on here, but I do have some videos on Torah teaching. They're in the playlists, and I do answer questions. So what part of Maine? There's Buck Account. I'm living in Missouri. Okay. So you came from Michigan, but now you live in Missouri. Missouri is Roy Blunt was one of those senators who just signed the red flag thing. So he was not a good senator for Missouri, I don't think. Just here for my daughter. Well, good for you. That's what you should do. Running a homestead is a busy life. Well, it sure is, Aid. I wonder how you know that. Let's see what else we got going on. There's Lamp Keeper. What a lovely day we're having. Yeah, yesterday was a lovelier day. Yesterday was a perfect temperature. Today we're going back up. But this part of the property is different than other parts of the property. I guess I could sort of Jason in somewhere. I could sort of just kind of tip it. It's a little bit drier, and it's a little bit more like high desert in this particular section, which is kind of weird. Like, the property has a lot of different feels to it, and this one is the scrub oak kind of part of it. Grateful, sister. Yeah. Jason in Virginia. Shalom, folks. Shalom. What part of Virginia are you in, Jason? I'm getting ready for a visit with the Vetters. Ooh, I didn't know you lived near them. Are they coming through your area, or are you in the area where they're visiting right now? They're such a nice couple. They really are. And man, do they have a green thumb. It's impressive. I recently ate some blueberries off a bush that were sort of taken care of while they're gone, and it's in a pot. Like, I have a brown thumb, believe it or not. I mean, all of this I'm happy with because I don't have to take care of it. I put stuff in the ground and I'm like, good luck, and I'll be checking in on you. Live in China, Maine, and I've been following the way for nearly 2 years now. Wow. Is that like more north or more southern Maine? And Tish, then the question becomes, is there anyone else you can fellowship with in your area? There's Palmetto Paratrooper. Shalom, fam. So we looked for a place for you, and we saw one. And I think Pastor contacted you, and by the next day, gone. That's how fast. Guinea Hill Homestead, thanks for being a channel supporter, and good morning. And there's NWA Prepper, good morning. Hey, Because I'm not on Instagram, I'm not seeing as much of your stuff. How is your garden doing, NWA Prepper? Southeast Missouri Ozarks here. Ooh, it's so pretty in the Missouri Ozarks. It really is. Clearing brush this morning in northeast Oklahoma for the heat of the day. Now it's time for some lunch with Sister K and friends, right? Yeah, clearing brush right now would be horrible. I would have probably done that yesterday. And next week's going to be too hot to do anything in the middle of the day, so we'll be enjoying this siesta stuff. Because that's what it's for. Siesta's for when it's too hot to be outside. Only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the noonday sun. There you go. There's a little visitor right there. Okay. Okay. I need to put up more fence too eventually. Gmail NWA. I do have wonderful news. If anyone remembers, I had an eye procedure back in February for double and triple vision. My vision has now fully regulated. I still have double vision reading. Well, praise Yah. That's good news, Lamp Keeper. That really is. And we have modern medicine. Let's use it while it's here and still available. And did anybody notice on the Googs today, top story, monkeypox vaccine is coming. But only a few people would get the really good vaccine and everyone else will get the one that's kind of hinky. I'm like, what? I don't want more vaccines now. No. And I don't want monkeypox either. I think I'll just stay right where I am and maybe I won't get it. Let's see. We're looking into seeing if we can get pre-approved for $10K more on a home loan. There's a house, 2 acres right down the street. Well, good luck with that, brother. I hope that works out. All but the potatoes are good. The potato tower was a complete fail. Lesson learned, though. You know what? And that's how it is, Northwest Arkansas Prepper. It is a lesson learned, and it's a yearly difference. Like some years I've had tons of tomatoes. Some years, like this year, I'm going to get like 10 tomatoes. I need to keep improving my soil. That's worked really well for me, but this is going to be a great potato year for me. And I did it the old Irish way, the old Irish traditional way, and I just took a shovel. Imagine this is a shovel length and this is a shovel length, and this is like your dirt. You just take a shovelful, flop it in the middle, take another shovelful, flop it in the middle, plant your potatoes right here, right in the middle of where you flop the 2 bits of shovelfuls of dirt. It's worked for me like 2-3 years in a row now. And this stuff doesn't have to be without weeds. It's probably better if it has weeds. You just bloop, make a row, plant in the middle. Works great. The potatoes I have there this year, none of them are huge, but I think if I fertilize that next year, they'll be even bigger. So, and I got cucumbers. I got, for the first time, full-grown cucumbers. Before, all the bugs were able to kill the vines, I think I got 5. And we've eaten 2 or 3 because they were really good. And then 2 of them I found they were too big. I should have picked them sooner. So I'm probably going to make pickles out of those ones. All right. Shalom, PT. Is that physical training or something else? We're looking. Okay, that's right. Yep. Got a call. See you later. All right. Be safe out there. Greek Homestead. Hey, SK, how are you? I am fine, Greek Homestead. How are you? Now, see, for your sake, I should try to find the goat and have him come up here, but I've walked all over the hillside and I really don't want to do it. My root garden was completely drowned out because right after I planted, we got a week and a half of rain. My turnips survived, but they were planted 2 weeks earlier. I have some turnips. I planted them in my orchard. They have been not watered at all, and they're still doing okay. And I think basically we can have turnips year round. I really do, because I've got some that wintered over, that then leafed up in the spring, and then that weird white mold got on them, that garden mold. And so I tore a bunch of those leaves off. I'm too lazy, y'all, to treat most of this stuff, and I don't want to spray for bugs. Oh yeah, and I did the dawn and water thing. That was too weird. I did a bunch of it on this one of my tomato plants, and this black mold immediately appeared like a day later on the plant. And so I went out there and like washed all that off, rubbed it all off. And the next day it was gone. And I'm like, oh God, what's in Dawn? What the hell was that? So I don't know if I want to keep spraying Dawn on my plants. I'm just going to have to take what I can get. A buck account. I hate Michigan. Well, why don't you tell us about a buck account? You probably want to. I've never been to Michigan. I know the northern states have a lot of black flies and mosquitoes in the summertime, and I'm not about that. But we have ticks and chiggers down here, so a lot of people don't like that. And I'll tell you something in a minute about that. We are having a bit of an issue with mites. Diatomaceous earth seems to be the solution. Yeah, the vetters who Patty Sanchez is going to meet up with soon, Andy uses diatomaceous earth, and he's pretty happy with it. Now, I won't say it cures all ills, but it seems to take care of some, and I know it's good for the soil. Michigan is geographically, Michigan is great. Politically, it's crap. Guinea Hill Homestead, hang on. Oop, sorry. Last night I handpicked squash bug eggs and dropped into Dawn water, hoping I'd stay ahead of them. That's what I'm doing too. I'm checking my plants. I'm barely staying ahead of them. I've killed several adult of those bugs, and I know how to make a trap to catch them, but I haven't done it. See, I told you I'm lazy. I'd rather go out there and just pick them by hand. Getting north of Sanford is best, says Buck Account. And there's Grace Akers. Shalom, Grace Akers, and thanks for being a channel supporter. Good afternoon, all. Hey, if any of you all are crew chiefs, and I don't know if anyone in the chat is crew chief, I uploaded another bit of that story, so it's up there. And I've seen one person read it, and they've got a whatever, but I just wanted to let everyone know. And then my wife has started training 2 of our neighbors on how to can and preserve. That is amazing. That is so good. That's what my son is doing. We are just so proud of he and his wife and all our kids. All our kids are great. God be praised. Thank you so much. He and his wife are doing gardening classes and canning classes for their community because it's a small town and there's a lot of people with problems and they aren't being taught by their own parents and they don't know this stuff. And so they're getting in on it to try to make their town stronger and better. And I like that. I like that your neighbors are going to know. It's important. Ask my wife about her battle against the squash bug. She has a deep hatred of those things. Oh, me too, Westhold. There's Gardner 67. Shalom, sister and crew. Gardner, speaking of gardens, we're talking about, oh, there's Rachel House. Did you read the story, Rachel? I think you probably did. I put another paragraph of it up there. Gardner, we're talking about squash bugs and what a pain in the rear end they are. How you doing, by the way? It's so important to teach others right now. It sure is. There's Overwatch. Good morning. I've got perfect round tiny holes in my sweet basil, but don't see any suggestions. Flip the leaves over first, but if you don't see them in the day, then go out there at night because there are bugs that operate at night and you might be able to catch them, see them then. And I'm starting to think about putting bowls of water under my plants so when I shake it and the bugs drop out, they fall in water and drown. Shalom, y'all, from the Missouri Ozarks. Another beautiful day. Yeah, the Missouri Ozarks are a gorgeous area. Just hilly and grassy and water, trees. It's lovely. We went to that prep expo up in Roby. That's a really gorgeous area too. Well, good, Rachel. I hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, you have to know I'm not the fastest greyhound on the track. I intend to get stuff done. I forget I'm going to do it. I don't always get it, but I'm trying. And there's going to come a point, Rachel, when that's what I started. But you and the other crew chiefs are going to help me continue writing it. That's what you signed up for. So keep that in mind and get yourself some ideas on what you think should happen next. I've been running T-posts and welded wire fence and got halfway around the front yard to realize the rest of my T-posts are too short. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe you can return them or trade them or something. I gotta go in a client home. See y'all later. Okay, Rachel, be safe out there. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being a channel supporter. I've been having phone probs again. I'm doing good, but busy gardening and caring for my mother-in-law. Prayers needed for Brother Mike, lung cancer. That's went into his lymph nodes. Oh my gosh. Caring for him. Oh, I'm headed to Sam's to get more long-term food. I talked my bunch into putting more money, and that's good, but now I have to do the shopping. Well, yeah, and they're probably getting used to seeing people with carts full of rice and beans. There is Mark Chase. All right, so we need to pray for Brother Mike because he's got this lung cancer thing, and the Father is a great physician. He can heal anything if it is in his will. So prayers are going out for Brother Mike and this cancer issue. And you rebuke that also, sister. You rebuke cancer because there's a mental aspect to healing as well as the physical aspect. And people who get prayed for do better than people who don't. Bless you all out. All right, Buck. That's why Elohim is guiding his people in the Ozark Mountain area. Though our individual groups may spread out through the area, I do believe that is God's plan. I do too. I think he wants his people to be together, and I think he wants his people to be able to live that agricultural life that he intends for all of us to live. And good for your mental health, good for your physical health. That you eat food that you're growing with your own hands so you don't ingest a lot of chemicals. Thank you much. Love to everyone. I've missed y'all. We miss you too and your sunny disposition. I agree, Netzarim says Guinea Hill Homestead. I'll tell you what, Pastor and I, it's just really hard for us to want to leave Shofar Mountain anymore. Because when you have this as your atmosphere, you have the sounds, you have this, I like to call it smell-o-vision. The visuals, like the beauty of the surroundings, and then you go into any kind of, I mean, small towns are better than big places, but anywhere where there's traffic, stop signs, you know, you have to think about what you're doing, where you're going, be careful with your vehicle, be careful where you're stepping, what you're saying. It's so stressful. It really is. And it shouldn't be. I mean, we lived in that world for such a really long time. And we enjoyed it. We enjoyed ourselves in it. But man, now, it all seems beautiful with all the chaos going on. I appreciate and give thanks so often now. Yeah, amen. Absolutely. And the Father is still working on me. I mean, we've been walking in faith for, like 30 plus years. And when I say walking, I mean starting at looking at the Bible and saying, wow, we probably would read that thing to where we are now. And the Father is still working on me, still giving me little hints like, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing this. Follow my direction. Go here, do that. Still fruitful. It's just a really, really wonderful life. And if we've convinced anybody to turn to it and they're happy, then hallelujah. Look at the sunlight right in my hair. If I go like here, look at how much darker. It's like I got my own little bit of whoop. All right, so what else is on everybody's mind? Let's see. I planted, on the advice of an elderly Amish man, marigolds and zenith flowers all around my squash, tomatoes, and potatoes. No bugs. Oh, really? I've done marigolds, but I've never, like, I plant two zenith flowers and marigolds all around it. I'm going to have to try that next year. Had to go into the city to close on a ranch. Seemed so foreign. our homestead is different, is definitely our place of shalom. Very peaceful with great scenery. Yeah, hallelujah. There's no better place to be but in the Lord's will. Well, that's absolutely true. And so you all know that I've been watching this series on Netflix about a Turkish guy in like the 1200s. I think it's the 1200s. And he's Muslim. And if you guys didn't know that, Islam has only been around since like the 600 AD time frame. So it's the newer of the three Judeo-biblical, whatever you want to call it, faith. And they are nomads. They are nomads who have sheep and goats, and they process the goat hair and the sheep wool and stuff. And they have horses, so they're mounted, and they're using the products from their herd animals or flock animals for making food, yogurt, drinking milk, and then they're using the wool and they're weaving it, and then that is what all the material that they're all wearing and what their yurts are made out of, their homes. They make these really bright, colorful carpets, and it's the main industry and a way of income for their tribe is the women doing the weaving and then making the rugs and the tapestries and the blankets and whatever. They sell them and they get money from them, but that's not the only thing. And then the menfolk are very accomplished fighters. They're very accomplished warriors. And I know I've talked about this before. They can ride the horses, shoot arrows from the horses. They can fight with spear, sword, shield, axe, and they can fight on the ground or from the horses. And they're really good at it. Like, it's their lifestyle. They bring their sons up at, age 6, and they start training them on how to fight with the swords and everything. And their tribal lifestyle, even though I don't agree with the Muslim religion, the way it's being presented in the series, it's actually very similar as far as what their beliefs are and how they want to live to what we're doing. And within the tribe, the biggest thing, like for the men, is the loyalty to the tribe and to the tribal leader. It's kind of like all his guys are his bodyguards. And when they're, if they need something done, the men do it. Let's just say they're going to move, I don't even know. They're going to take the carpets out and sell them. They load them all up into the cart, and then the men go out to the market and they sell the carpets, and they try to, get a good deal so they can buy wheat and bring it back into the camp. And there's just so much about the way it's all set up and the way this particular group ran things that resonates with me. So I'm getting a lot that way, and I'm seeing you've got some, kind of priest guys that are praying all the time, that are studying their word and interpreting it and presenting it to the other people. You have these warriors who are just fiercely defending and fighting because the Mongols are invading too. And the Mongols in the series are portrayed as very heathen, and I think they probably were. And also, it's really funny to watch in the series. They have crusaders in the area too, because there was a crusader on the same time this person was alive. And they're portraying the crusaders as very bloodthirsty, money-hungry, and fond of using poison to get rid of their enemies. And I'm like, wow, because in our pantheon of beliefs, crusaders were noble, fighters for Christ, trying to liberate Jerusalem from the Muslims and so on and so on. And it's really interesting to me to see the flip side of that. And from Turkish people, because I don't know anything about Turkish Muslims. The knowledge I have is of Asiatic Muslims and what we see on our news of Mideast Muslims. So it's a really fascinating thing to watch in my eyes. And Anyway, let's see what your comments are. I planted over 50 marigold plants in my garden. Apparently, they hate the smell. Yeah, the smell is bad, but I never did enough. Like 50 makes more sense. I'd always do like 2, and they'd have no effect. I planted a lot of trap crops and companion plants this year, so far no bugs on my veggies. Nice. Patty Sanchez, I'd like you to send me an email about that. Morrigan, MORRIGAN 55 at hotmail.com. Pastor definitely guided me in my walk of following Torah. Well, good. Hallelujah. Hello there. I'll be praying for your brother. Way to go. It's amazing how they work, said Gardner. All this rain is blasting the garden to beauty except okra. Okra is saying enough already. Yeah, rain helps. Water helps. I was a 45-year First United Pentecostal person. Then Yah opened their eyes to the full truth. Hallelujah. Well, hallelujah, Tish. Yeah, the full belief. It's so much. When you're born again, you're so excited and full of love for Yeshua and just appreciation for everything. And then when you find Torah, it's even better. It's like that again. We never wanted to leave our little paradise either. Went to the city the other day for errands, and we were stressed and miserable. That's us. I mean, and we're now time limiting. Like, we don't want to go out at night at all. So we try to get everything done in the daytime. And this from people who used to stay up late, go out to the movies, go out to eat. We weren't really bar hoppers, but trap crops seem to be very effective, said Palmetto Paratrooper. I'm going to have to look that up. I do not like going in the city. All right, Tish, I don't know what happened to your comment there. Maybe you withdrew it. A heavy-hearted 3 weeks. We just lost Brother Steve 2 years ago. Scott's taking this hard, but with Yah, everything's going to be fine either way. Yeah, it's a tough thing, Gardner 67. Sunflowers are loaded. Same with nasturtium. Well, we have sunflowers in our garden, and every time I plant nasturtium, they don't grow. If I could just convince people how much the Father loves us, and that's why He created Sabbath, it's such a gift, and I look forward to it every week. You can try telling them, Tish, but seriously, we've told lots of people, and they don't get it. It's really the Holy Spirit that'll make them see it or not. Their ground has to be prepared, and so if you're talking to someone and their ground is not prepared, it's falling on deaf ears, and it's sad because I want everyone to know this truth, and so I have a channel and I talk about it. Still, you can't, it's not up to us. Yeah, the Mongols are heathen, but I find their lifestyle closely resembled the Hebrew tent dwellers. In what way, Lamp Keeper? Just because they too were nomadic and stayed in tents? That is right about the Crusaders, said Aid. That they were money-hungry poisoners, Aid? My only experience with Muslims are American Muslims and Middle Eastern Muslims. I admire them in some ways and despise them in others. Exactly right. That's kind of how I feel about it too, Palmetto. Their culture, not necessarily the religion, it's different. How they're living out their everyday life can be really horrific. It's too late to plant marigold seeds. I need more. I think they are a warm weather plant, but I don't know. And there is Hunter Kirk. Shalom from North Idaho. Shalom. I'm late as usual, Lone Star Living. Well, at least you're here, brother. And you know what else? Since I'm on a different part of the property, I get better service here. When I'm up at the orchard, the service is bad. Excuse me. Oh, Tish Varney, I knew early on when I started keeping Shabbat that it was the right thing to do because I always dreaded working on the weekends before and after. I was finding it hard not to. Right? We look forward to it every week. The Torah is my constitution now, Netzrim says. Torah makes things easier. I'll say that. What I find appalling these days, and I'm on Twitter, And I try to be gracious about things. It's really hard not to just get really angry with people on there, is how few people understand how our Constitution works and the importance of some of the laws that are being passed. The two laws that were passed recently about the Second Amendment and abortion are huge, and they were a shift towards constitutionality, which means in support of our Constitution. Roe versus Wade was passed at a time when there was mass hysteria in America. The feminists were just rabid, and a lot of the more conservative people just were not the kind of people to get rabid about stuff like that. And so it got passed. And I don't even know who was president at the time. Could have been Ford, Carter. I don't know. And I don't know who the Supreme Court justices were. But saying that abortion was a federally protected right was not constitutional, because our Constitution says you have a right to a common defense, general welfare, like in that song, that kid song, to maintain and establish this Constitution for the defense of the United States. Basically, it's just a few things the federal government is responsible for, and what isn't expressly laid out in the Constitution, that way, like your right to privacy and not to have to quarter soldiers in your home, gets decided at the state level. And with 50 states, you're not going to get all 50 states deciding the same thing, like their drinking age, their driver's license age, what their school year is. All that stuff gets done more locally, which is the way it should be in a country as big as we are. The adversary will remind you of everything you need to get done when you keep the Sabbath. Oh yeah, he will, and I try to drown him out. There is Deb Vold. Hello from Northwest Ohio. Hello. Western Ohio is really pretty. I've never been up. Well, I haven't been in the northern part, but I've gone through the Middle West. When you start the Torah and the beauty of his plan unfolds, it is so exciting. It is true, Grace Acres. It's just and it doesn't stop me in a really fulfilling thing. Shalom, my apologies. I am late. This is lovely, Dudley. You have nothing to apologize for. I didn't tell anybody I was doing this live stream. I used to put it on Instagram, and I sometimes get it out on my channel in the community section, but I was just like, you know what? You haven't contacted your people in a while, and y'all, I kind of missed that. I wanted to hear from you guys too. I've just been living. Guinea Hill, I'm not sure in your area. I started my marigold seeds back in April. Put them out in May. Keep heads picked off. They get huge. And the heads have more seeds in them. I don't know if you knew that. Schoolhouse rock. That's right, Grace Acres. Protects the turtles. Hang on. Protects turtle eggs because they are becoming extinct. The government protects eagle eggs, but they won't protect babies in their mother's womb. So unbelievable. It is. It's it's because the bureaucracy's gotten so big. My wife and I have been going through very serious trials since committing to keep Torah, because the enemy's after you. Life got really difficult and challenging. 100% feel it's the powers of this world trying to instill confusion and doubt, and that does happen. But every trial, this is something that's in the series I'm watching, which I was like, okay, so the Muslims look at the world in a different way. We Americans are just all like, everything's great, we're happy all the time. And their belief system was, at least for this particular series and the tribe they're covering, was the world is full of trials and error all the time. Like, you're constantly being tested. And the good of that is you come out stronger in the end. And I said, okay, so that is the way. Let's see, because Deuteronomy 26 kind of covers it all. Just because you're in this faith does not mean your life is without trials. And that's a promise and a mantra that Christian churches will tell you. Well, once you believe in Jesus, everything's, perfect. No, of course not. And even the word says that. It says the same sort of thing. that the Father will not burden you more than you can bear, that He will equip you to handle the problems you have to handle, and you will get blessings if you stay in His Word. I bet you that's bonkers goat. He's kind of lonely. He's kind of far from the other two. Plus, he probably got tangled. I might untangle it before I go. But anyway, so the Muslims are like, be happy you have trials. I don't know if I can go that far, but understand that trials make you stronger, and it's a test, and you're supposed to overcome it. You're supposed to not let the trial break you from your faith, but for married couples, destroy your marriage, because what God has put together, let no man put asunder, right? So you're being tested. Pastor taught that we were adopted and grafted in Israel, but though a foster parent as we were, he didn't grasp that when you're adopted, you adopt their ways and do as they do. That's not necessarily true, because you're adopted into Israel's blessing of Torah, but you do not have to do everything Israel does, because Israel as a culture has decided many, many other things, including a lot of the habits, the traditions that they do nowadays are not in Torah. But their rabbis and their elders have done so many opinions on Torah that they now identify being Jewish as how much of those things you do too. And that is not required in Torah. So you've got to know Torah to understand how far you need to be obedient. When the adversary reminds me of something that needs to get done on the Sabbath, I just write it down and say thank you. Well, I just try to make a mental note. I don't even bother. It was a nice surprise to see you today. Oh, thank you. It's a nice surprise to see you too, sister. You know, we're always like, even though we don't talk on the phone and everything with our brethren, it's like a spiritual connection. Like always hoping everyone is doing okay, even if they're not doing okay, that they're, we let them know that we are family, we are tribe, all of us Torah believers, and you have our spiritual support, if nothing else. I'm saying the tent life in general, not cultural. Yeah, this is the same thing, Lamp Keeper, with the Muslim thing I'm watching. The actual nomadic life, there's a lot of similarities. When I go through that, I cry out to my Father for His Holy Spirit to protect me, my land, and everything upon it. I always feel relief to rid the devil from this place. Great. Trials make you grow and understand. They sure do. Freedom requires virtue, which requires faith, which requires freedom. This is called the golden triangle on which our country was found on. If we cut out one of the three legs, then it all crumbles. Yep. I've had at least 3 old friends, people I've known for over 20 years, attack me for my belief in Yah in the last week. Yeah, it's funny, Mike, McMikey. Well, it's not funny. It's interesting how people get really defensive when you say, but there's more. There's more. There's more to the Bible. There's more to this faith than whatever your Christian church taught you. And I use that in a general way, because some Christian churches do teach biblical things, and they do cover a lot of the basics, and they do give people a pretty good understanding, but many of them don't. I know for a fact the Roman Catholic Church teaches you all kinds of nonsense that's not in the Word. So the people who hear the truth and get angry about it see themselves as content, right? That, okay, I go to church on Sunday and I pray and I donate some money and I'm good. They probably don't understand a lot of the basic stuff in the Word, because again, in a Christian church, they're not explaining it correctly. Ask them what sin is. I couldn't even define sin. When someone said, "What's sin?" I'm like, doing stuff that makes you feel bad, right? And so, if they've been doing it a long time, they don't want to hear that they've been doing it wrong. And for whatever reason, they don't fall on their knees and repent and say, "Wow, Father, I'm so sorry. I got it wrong for these past 30, 40, 50 years. I've been trying to, follow you, and I really wanted to be in your way." Um, it's a pride thing, and that's not good because we're to be humble, right? So it's not unexpected, McMikey. And sometimes they'll question, all right, I like McMikey, why would he tell me this? And sometimes they'll come to the truth and sometimes they won't. But it's not up to you. It's up to the Holy Spirit. My own mother attacked me for my following Yeshua and Torah, so I handed her the Bible and asked her to cut out which parts of the Bible we shouldn't follow. Okay, that's a pretty good response. It's almost time for the VA to bring Brother Mike home from chemo, so I gotta go. Just wanted to say I missed you, so just wonderful to hear you today. Always lift my heart. Yeah, you too, Gardner67. Bless you. That means you're on the right track, says Mark Chase. I don't know if I'd say it that way, but I certainly would say it this way. If you're trying to explain it to them to help them, to because you care about them, one, you can't cast your pearls before swine. So if they're going to continue to attack you, just stop. It's not worth your effort for ground that's stony. Cast your seed somewhere else. Yeah, I think that's what I want to say about that. All right. We're seed planters, we're not farmers, Lampkeeper said. We're seed throwers, but the seed falls where it does. The ground is prepared. Someone else may come along and water it. Someone else might see the increase and have seen it grow. Your job is to throw the seed. Just glad y'all brought me to the Ozarks, and Pastor Joe 4 years ago, it instantly snapped for me. I'm so much further in my walk now. Well, good, McMikey. I'm glad it happened for you too. I just went through the Bible and followed everything that Jesus did and all that he taught his disciples to teach others. But did you get the understanding, Tish, while you were doing that, of what sin actually was? Like, can you define sin now versus when you did? Yep, brush the dust off your shoes, says Mrs. Lovely Dudley. If you're in a town and you're trying to bless people and they reject you, get the dust off your shoes, brush your robe off, and head on down the road, because not everybody's eyes will be open and ears open. Totally agree on that. Sometimes the best way to love your neighbor is just leave them alone. And part of words work, right, and trying to explain the word, but sometimes just your actions, your demeanor, your behavior will impress upon people. And for some people, ask me how I know all this. Seeing tzitzit is like, it touches something in their soul, and they want to go up to the person with the tzitzit and say, "What are those things?" And then you get to witness to them. Well, it's commanded in the word in Numbers 15 that we wear these tzitzit. And it's to remind you to keep the commandments. Well, which commandments are those? Well, let's start with the 10, but there's more, that sort of thing. And sometimes it's the food. Why won't you eat pork? Well, it says I'm not supposed to. It's an abomination. Sometimes it's the Shabbat. Why don't you want to come to the baseball game, whatever, go shopping on Saturday? I'd rather stay home and rest. You don't know where your witness is going to come from. And sometimes it's not just words. Sometimes it's actions or something else. Beautiful. Good day. Silver lining. Good day. Beautiful. Like-minded Sister Kate. Thank you. Hello, Soapy Acres Homestead. Soapy Acres, I think I'm using one of your bars of goat soap, and it's amazing. It smells good. It works good. and it's not just turning into mush when I'm using it. How's the piano? I'm not sure if I miss it. Curious if there's any update. Yes, I'm at a stalemate with a Pastor Joe over the piano because the piano guys are saying there's no hope for it. The last guy actually did say he could make it sound a lot better. And so we're both waiting to see how it's going to play out because I think it's worth doing, and my husband does not agree right now, so we'll just have to see. And prayers for that, please. I have not given up hope on it. I really do want to hear that thing play some music, and I don't care if it's not perfect. So we'll just see. Okay. Called to be example, to be the light. Yeah, and so that's why I feel a little guilty sometimes on Twitter. It's like, listen, people call me names. People say some pretty rude, ugly things to me, and I'm pretty sharp with them back. But I don't curse. I don't use bad language. So pastors saying things are warming up over there in Europe, and we're going to send hundreds of the 101st Airborne over there for an extended period of time, which is not a good sign, because we probably don't want to get involved in a big land war in Europe if we can help it. Although we do have allies, and they're probably going to need help. So I just hope Russia and everything calms back down. All right. I had to dust off my shoes with my own father in regards to talking about it anymore, and it's very sad, said Rhonda McComb. Okay, so Rhonda, a lot of people have this happen too. The parents see it as a rejection of them because you're not walking the faith they're walking. My mom even told me that. I raised you differently. I raised you to be a Catholic. And I'm like, but I didn't really like the Catholic Church, Mom. Wasn't really my thing. But you're to honor your parents. See, now, this is where some people are like, well, I've cut off all relationship with my parents because they're whatever. They're horrible people. Okay, but you're to honor them. And honor them means, biblically, at least financially supporting them if they need it in their older years. And probably also if they call you up and say, hey, I don't have any food in the house, you go buy the food for them. I can't pay my rent, you pay their rent. Or you move them in with you. You take care of your parents. So if you can't talk to your parents because of your faith decision, that does not mean you get to check out. You have to try to maintain a kind of relationship with them, even if it's, checking up on them through your brother or your sister or whatever. But you are not to let your parents just sink into a financial, physical, whatever ruin through neglect. So I want you to understand that. And you should be praying for your parents. Again, if your words are not going to convince him, perhaps your actions will. Send him his happy birthday note, or help him from a distance. The internet allows you to do all kinds of things. You can send flowers, you can order food, you can have gifts delivered to wherever they are. So don't completely lose contact on your parents because of the faith, because you would not be honoring the commandments. Honor thy mother and father. It's a pretty straightforward commandment. All right, I can't Twitter, and Insta is getting hard since Soapy Acres. I know, I quit Insta and I miss it because I was able to stay in better contact. Okay, RT, what is sin? Sin is transgression of the law, PT, and transgression means you are breaking the law. Now, you have to look at it as it's not just the civil law of America. That's not the law we're talking about. This is all specific to the Bible. The law the Bible's talking about is God's law. So sin is breaking God's laws. It's very simple. And if you need the actual verses, you can just Google it. Or you guys might be able to answer them. 1 John 3:4 is part of it. I'm That's just you building up treasure for heaven when you get called all those names. I'm mistreated for your belief in Yeshua. Count it as good, yeah, if you're mistreated in his name. My parents are Baptists and they have told us they don't want to speak to us anymore. I love my parents and will help if they ask. That's right. Just keep the door open, Soapy Acres, and occasionally try to get in contact with them. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Or happy anniversary or whatever. I'm at Pastor Joe said sin is breaking the laws of Yah. That's right. That's exactly right. And that's not what you're told in a lot of churches. You're not really told what sin is, and things are defined as sin that are not sins, and sins like not honoring your parents are not called a sin. So I sinned in all kinds of ways until we figured it out, and I'm still sinning, but at least I know what I'm guilty of and can ask for help and forgiveness for it. Shalom and good morning. SK says Mad Kel. Hey, are we neighbors yet? Yeah, there you go. Mad Kelt's got it. John 3:4. Sin is transgression of Torah. Esther Bell, House of Mr. Arbel Sr. Hello, I'm new here. Husband and I and our 15-year-old twins moved out to the Ozarks 3 months ago. Wow, well, welcome. I hope you like it. I hope your move was a good one and you feel like you've improved your situation. Everyone just dismisses what I say as my one off-the-wall tangents, even though I present them with the Bible verses to back it up. Sometimes I wonder if I'm making a difference. Again, lamp keeper, you're not to cast your pearls before swine. So if you're not seeing fruit from your seed throwing, then stop throwing seeds there and just wait. There is Jesus. Shalom. Guys, I'm going to be online for 7 more minutes because then that will have been an hour. And then I have to go continue my chores and my day. Pastor and I are going to leave. We're going to go out and do a bit of shopping. And we've been planning it for 3 or 4 days and things get in the way. And so it's got to be done. Sorry, I'm so noisy drinking, but I've really got to drink or I get dehydrated. I do have a praise, and I haven't put it on the community section yet, but I have had 5 hens sitting on nests, and some of them have actually started to hatch some chicks out, which is amazing. And we're up to 15 now, and that's not a lot. I understand that, but it's a lot for, a single homestead. And there's still 3 of them sitting on nests. The one has been sitting on nests all summer and has hatched nothing. She's in with the ducks, and I've decided I'm changing her whole situation. She is going to get moved tonight, and I'm going to take her out of the duck house where she is now, and I'm going to put her in the smaller house where there's a hen with 3 chicks now. I transferred her down because I didn't have any safe place free from, a safe place where the netting was small enough that the chicks couldn't get out. Because if the chicks get out up by our house, I have a cat and the cat will kill them. So she got moved down to the orchard into a location where her chicks cannot get out and run around. I let them out the very first day I was down there, just so the mom could show them how to go out and dig and whatever. And one of them got killed. So they're in that little house, at least for a couple more days till it gets too hot, and then I'll have to let them out. But I have a plan to make a better spot for all the nursing moms. They're not nursing. All the moms of the chicks, so that they don't, the cat cannot access the chicks. And so I've got to go to Lowe's to make all that happen. And in case you heard that noise in the background, that's the billy goat. He's probably getting tangled up. Either that or he's running out of food. He gets frustrated and he just tears the bark off the nearest tree and beats his head on it. All right, there we go. Lots of shaloming. You're telling everybody peace, you know that. Oh my, all the adorable little bitties. I used to feed them on my grandma's farm. Oh, they're adorable. They are. And I've never had this many hatch out at one time here ever. So I'm kind of excited. And I still have a incubator that I could fill with eggs. I thought I was going to take a trip recently and that got canceled. And so I'm seriously contemplating filling the incubator too and just hatching out more. Can't have too many in my mindset. If I have to, I can give them away. It took decades before I turned my life around, but thankfully there were people along the way that planted seeds in my mind. Praise Yah. Me too. Yeah. What kind of nuggets did you hatch out? Said Wes S. Well, Wes, all different varieties. My flock is not a monoflock. I have brown Sussex. I have buff Orpingtons. I have some black like crosses, some kind of sex link or something cross thing. I have chicks that got hatched last year that are half one and half the other. Part Freedom Ranger. And the little one that's down at the orchard was hatched last year, and she's just all black. So they're mutts. It's been interesting. Bought raw land and starting from scratch. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a haul. Just, Esther, just give yourself time and understand you're not going to be able to do it all at once, and you're probably not going to be able to get it perfect. We're here 10 years on this land, and we are still living like we're in a Boy Scout camp. So you're probably going to do better at it than we did. I'll just say that. But man, I don't regret any of the living here. I've had some run-ins with some people, but as far as the living here, I don't regret it. We used to have 80 birds. That's a lot of feed. That's what's concerning me, Soapy, is how much feed it's going to take. And right now, everyone seems to be doing okay after we rehomed several raccoons and 14, 12, whatever snakes last year. The chicks seem to be doing okay. The hens seem to be doing okay. Nothing seems to be eating them right now. But with 80, we would definitely have to free range everybody. And it would be like, hey, if you're good at it, you're going to live. If you don't do well fending for yourself, you're probably going to die. I did fermented, which helps feed costs. Oh, everyone keeps saying that, and I forget. It almost killed me to not plant the garden this year. Oh, I believe that, Mad Kelp. I believe that. And our garden's not great, but this is the best year we've had. And every year I learn something and I get more ideas on how to make it better without having to put chemicals on it, because I really just don't want to do that. Wes S., we used to have 250. See, that's more than I think I'm capable of carrying it for, Wes. How's your new place coming, by the way? I have a broody Brahma, but don't have an area that I can separate her from the rest of the flock. So Grace Acres, what I did is I put mine in a travel kennel for dogs. I had a large one because we have large dogs. And I just, at night, picked her up with whatever chicks she had under her, pre-laid a nest of straw in there for her, set her on that, and then carried the rest of the eggs and put them under her. And I did that with 2 birds. And the ones that are still setting in the coop right now, the one has got like 20 eggs under her. And she's already hatched out, I think, 6 chicks. I just take the chicks out from under her and put them under the ones that are caring for the chicks. Because she's hatching them, but she's not caring for them. She's not getting up and walking around and showing them how to eat and all that. So I put them under the ones that are caring for them. And I've transferred like 6 chicks that way. Or maybe more. So we've got the production birds that are hatching them, and then the mama birds that are momming them. And another way to do it is you could use baby gates to like separate her. I've used cat carriers and just open it up, unscrew it and all that, and turn them so that they make like a little hut. And I put that over brooding hens before, and they've gone in to brood in there. cardboard box. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just enough. If I were a single man, all right, I'm going to read these comments and then I'm serious. I'm going to get offline just because my back's starting to bother me too. Ugh. I'm sitting on a rock. If I were a single man or just a married couple, I could do the raw land thing, but I have 6 children and one with autism. I don't think the juice would be worth a squeeze. It absolutely wouldn't. It's so much easier to buy a place that's already got stuff on it. And we say that. Nobody has to do it from raw land unless they want to. I need to start the fermenting feed. I'm growing extra squash and cucumbers. Oh, that's a good idea, Guinea Hill. Somebody listen, but it seems unlikely at the moment. You never know, lamp keeper. They could always turn around. Cold and wet spring here. The garden is stunted at best. Sounds good for brassicas, Hunter Kirk. Sounds good for broccoli. Tell Aid to get his tail back over here and build me a chicken coop. I'm working too mucho. Yeah, Aid. When are you going to come back and just become a citizen? We were all up here going, he needs to just become an illegal. There's so many illegals in America. He's not going to stand out, especially in nowhere, Texas. Just come over and don't go back. Lunchtime and hungry. Shalom, lamp keeper. I have a large dog crate I can use. Thanks for the idea. No problem. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. All right. Bless you all. Good to see all y'all here. Thank you for showing up and commenting. I look forward to it, and I will try to get some videos out. I'm just not inspired as much as I enjoy talking to you all like this. All right. Bless y'all. Shalom. Shalom, shalom.